There is a particular kind of tired that sleep does not touch. You know it. It is the tiredness of being the one who notices, the one who remembers the birthday, who texts first after the silence, who senses the mood shift across a room and adjusts before anyone has to ask. You have been the strong one for so long that people have stopped checking whether you are all right,
I'm fine.
because you always are. And lately something has been changing, and you cannot quite name it. You have been praying about it. In the vague way people pray about things they are afraid to look at directly. You have asked God to fix a situation, or move a person, or open a door. What you did not expect was for Him to start working on your hands. Not the situation, your hands, the way they grip. Look at the first sign, because it is the one that frightens people most. Things you used to hold together are falling apart, and nothing you do is stopping it. You have applied the usual effort, the extra thoughtfulness, the conversation you rehearsed in the car, and it is not working. What worked for 10 years has stopped working, and you are standing in the wreckage of your own competence, wondering what is wrong with you. Nothing is wrong with you. Something is being taken out of your hands. There is a difference between a thing God is asking you to fight for and a thing God is prying your fingers off. It does not always feel different from the inside. But a woman can spend a whole decade holding up something that God has already let fall and call it faithfulness. The second sign is quieter, and it will surprise you. You are becoming a worse chaser. You used to be excellent at it. You could sense someone drifting and close the gap before they noticed they had moved. Now, when someone pulls back, something in you simply lets them go. Not coldly. You still care. But the machinery that used to spring into action has gone still, and you keep waiting for the panic to arrive, and it does not. That stillness is not indifference. It is the beginning of your own peace, and you have not learned to trust it yet. The third sign arrives as embarrassment. Someone offers you something and you do not know how to take it. A friend brings food. A person at church says, "Let me help with that." Someone gives you a compliment and you are already deflecting it before they have finished the sentence. You laugh it off, you say it was nothing, you promise to pay them back by the end of the week. Sit with why that is so hard for you. Receiving puts you in debt to somebody, and debt is a kind of exposure. As long as you are the one giving, you are safe. You are needed, you are useful, and nobody sees the parts of you that are not managing well. Giving keeps you in control of the relationship. Receiving hands the control to someone else. That is the real reason it is uncomfortable. Not humility, control. Here is the part a brother has to say plainly. Some of what you call serving is actually hiding. The fourth sign is that you are starting to notice how much of your praying was actually strategy. You would bring a situation to God and, in the middle of asking, quietly begin planning what you would do about it. The prayer became a briefing, and lately you have found yourself running out of things to suggest, sitting in a silence with nothing to offer, and finding that the silence is not empty. That is new ground for you, and it is holy ground, and it will feel like doing nothing. And the fifth sign is the one you will only notice later. Your standards have quietly risen without any decision on your part. Something you would have tolerated a year ago now registers as wrong within minutes. Not because you have hardened. Because a woman who has stopped chasing has time to actually look at what she is chasing, and some of it does not survive the inspection. Be honest about the fear sitting underneath all five, because it has a shape and it is worth naming. If you stop holding everything, you believe it will fall. Not in theory. You can picture exactly which relationship goes quiet first, which person stops calling, which part of your life quietly comes apart within a month. That fear has been running your life like a job you never applied for, and it is not entirely irrational. Some things probably will fall. What you have never tested is whether the ones that fall were ever standing on their own, or whether you have simply been the floor underneath them for years. Now here is where all 5 of them meet. There was a widow in a town called Zarephath during a famine, and she was gathering sticks outside the gate when a prophet asked her for water and a piece of bread. She told him the truth. She had a handful of flour and a little oil. She was collecting firewood to make one last meal for herself and her son, and then they were going to die. That is the end of striving, not a season of feeling low, the literal end of what her own effort could produce. She had done the arithmetic on her own life, and the arithmetic came out short. And Elijah asked her to make him something first. Read that again, because it is offensive on first reading. A stranger asks a starving woman for the last of her food. But look at what he said next. He told her the jar of flour would not run out, and the jug of oil would not fail until the day the rains came back. She did it. She fed him first. And the text says she and her household ate for many days. And the flour did not run out, and the oil did not fail. Notice what she was never asked to do. She was not asked to find more flour. She was not asked to be resourceful, to ration cleverly, to work harder, to secure the future. Her whole part was to open her hands and let something be given. The jar refilled quietly. Nobody watched it happen. She simply went back the next morning and there was enough, and then the next morning and the next. Provision arrived at the pace of her actual need and never one day ahead of it, which is its own kind of discipline for a woman who likes to see the whole plan. That is what is being taught to you right now. You have been living as though love and provision are things you must go out and capture, and if you stop hunting, everything stops. God is teaching you that the jar refills, not because you struck a bargain, and not because you finally became impressive enough, because that is who He is toward you. And there is something worth saying about what this will mean for the next man who comes near you. A woman who has learned to receive is a completely different person to love. She is not scanning for what needs fixing. She is not paying for her seat at the table with usefulness. When a good man does something kind for her, she says thank you and lets it stay done, instead of scrambling to balance the ledger by Friday. That is restful to be around, and men notice it long before they can explain it. The chasing you have done was never proof of how much you loved. It was proof of how little you believed you would be given. You are a daughter of the king, and daughters do not forage outside the gate of a house they already live in. Your father has never once required you to earn what he was already planning to hand you. The day is coming when someone offers you something good, and you will simply take it, without flinching, without a joke, without an immediate plan to repay. It will feel almost too easy. That ease is not a trick. It is what your hands were made for before you taught them to grip. Name one thing in the comments that you are learning to receive without earning it. Somebody reading tonight needs to hear from a stranger that it is allowed.